niggas is dancing, and the pills is ambience, the lighting is ambient, the housewives is outside the booth cause they can't be in. Oh, you fancy? Oh yeah, I'm the fanciest. They said summer was canceled, but I got plans and shit. Where my advances is, ladies, it's June, July, where all the cancers is. Show me your hands and shit. Even if you ain't a cancer, throw up your hands to this, cause most of y'all cancerous. Michael B. Jordan call you right now, you answering. Even if you got a man that love you, you scandalous. You gon' take the chance and shit. You know that relationship is probably in shambles, and you know you a fan of his. Know if he gon' bring you to Miami, you scrambling to pack all your luggage, get on a plane and land in it. Yeah, I'm just talking out of pocket now, I know y'all sick of me. I look at the score and y'all can't be counting the victories. It's still all love between us despite all the history. It's still October forever minus the trickery. Talk about a flip and switch challenge. It's been challenging for 10 years cause niggas been out here switching on me and showing how much realer that some of they bitches can be.
Every year I set this league up, every year, and I never win. This was the year! Bullshit!
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Happiness. Now, unfortunately, this will be a solo episode, as you guys are aware, throughout the week. I've been trying to get in contact with my co-host, Will. It takes a big person to come out, show up in front of the camera after a loss. It's easy after a win. After he scored the most points in week 1, he was here bright and early, chipper, ready to go. I'm not saying that him losing week 2 is the reason he's not here, but yeah, you guys just got me today. I'm not gonna front either. I'm not like super well prepared for this show, but what I will tell you is you guys are gonna get my best today. Colin Cowherd always says the hardest thing to do in sports media is talk to a camera alone and do solo radio. I think I got it in me though. So we talked with Kris in part 2 or part 1. I'm not even sure which order I'm going to put this in, but this is going to be kind of a grab bag where I'm going to go over week 2, preview week 3, talk a little bit about Thursday Night Football. So for all 8 of you waiting for this, let's get into it. So we'll start off with week 2. I thought that from a macro perspective, week 2 was probably a more fun week of football. Week 1 was like the lowest amount of touchdowns in week 1 since the 80s or something like that. So there was more scoring in week 2. I wouldn't say that the games were all that great or that we had many super exciting moments. I thought the primetime games were kind of trash. Saints-Panthers, I barely even watched, even though I had it on the second TV. Obviously, the Chubb injury and Deshaun Watson getting 100 personal fouls kind of dampened that game. And Sunday night, I thought was actually the most fun game to watch of the week from like a NFL X's and O's scheme perspective. But neither team lit up the scoreboard or, had too many big plays, which I do want to get into the lack of big plays here in a moment, just for future recording when I can look back at this and be like, you were on it. But let's get into the Jpdl fantasy. So we'll start off with my game. This isn't me being narcissistic or anything. It was supposed to be the biggest game of the week. It didn't really live up to it. But it was me against Gilchrist. Gilchrist came into the year with high expectations. I believe I did as well. We were 2 of the top 3 teams in most people's power rankings. So with Gil losing week 1, he really wanted to right the ship. He did not. We were able to pull out the win on the road, get to 2-0, send Gil to 0-2. We're in the same division, so I think that's pretty big for my sake for buys in the future. Gil's team smells. Let's be honest. Gil's team is really not that. Honestly, if you fade the Miami stack, Tua and Tyreek, obviously that's like 60 points waiting to happen whenever. If you fade that, it's not that crazy. I think Pollard might be the RB1 in fantasy this year. He got 32 touches last week. He leads the league in red zone opportunities. He's electric. He hasn't broken any big plays yet, but he has Tony Pollard, he has Eckler. Eckler will eventually be back. So he has those two guys and, probably two top 3, top 4 running backs along with Tyreek and Tua. But Jacobs looks slow. Najee looks fat. He looks like a fullback. He looks like Seahawks Eddie Lacy. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson looked fat on Sunday Night Football. I don't know what they were feeding them boys down in training camp in Dallas, but you would think that heat would make them shed a few pounds in training camp. Not so far. AJ Brown, I mean, it looks like defenses are starting to take him away and force the Eagles to kind of go to other options. I think that will self-correct eventually. But yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, what did we think about Gill's team last year that was so good? It was that he had 5 running backs. He had Jacobs, who was the number 1, Eckler, who was the number 2, Ramondre, who was top 10, Najee, who was scoring touchdowns every week. Like Pollard, who was always a big play waiting to happen. And this year, I feel like he only has 2 real running backs. I think Jacobs still has the lion's share of the carries, but he's kind of not in shape. I'm a little worried about the systemic risk of Las Vegas as a total. So only 104 points, the lowest amount of points in the league this week. Gill going to 0-2. He has Will this week, my co-host, my trusty co-host. He might, I don't know. Right now, it's like 50-50. Eckler's not going to play. We'll get into Thursday Night Football, but Waller didn't do anything crazy. I don't know. 0-3, 0-4 might be panic time for Gill. I still have faith in him, probably long term. And I do think if he sneaks into the playoffs, he'll have as good of a chance as any to win. But yeah, we'll move on to my team. Lamar, welcome back. 6 points in week 1. Good to have him back in week 2 doing what he does. Outside of him, Debo had an okay game. Saquon really stepped up. Everyone else was super disappointing. This was one of those wins that you like to bank the win at the end of the day, but you're not happy with how your team played. I sustained obvious injuries. The Saquon, Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, who's not fantastic, but he probably is a top 12 option just being in that great offense and getting all the goal line touches, kind of like Williams last year. I don't think it will be that crazy, but he should be pretty good. Now I lost all 3 of those guys. Justin Fields, we can do this now, guys. Justin Fields, I honestly believe that he would be a top 10, top 12 quarterback in pretty much any other situation in the league. I think he'll get another chance. I don't think he's going to be like Lamar Jackson's backup next year or anything like that. But Chicago, man, it's like you literally can't even make up the play calling. Like everyone made fun of him for throwing a pick 6 on a screen from his own 2 when they ran the same play 3 straight times. They have wide receivers not knowing what routes they're running. They have guys running to the same spot of the area. They have Luke Getsy not running Justin Fields. 4 design runs in 2 weeks. 4 for the best running quarterback in NFL history. He's better than Lamar. He's better than Vic. He's stronger. He's like 220. He breaks tackles. Watch his highlights. He's so much like, I won't say so much, but he's better than Lamar and Vic ever were at scrambling. And we're just like not utilizing it. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? It would be like if Steph Curry, if they were like, Steph isn't really good at reading defenses. So, Steph, we don't want you shooting 3-pointers. We want you to be a facilitator. We're going to max you at 10 shots a game and 3 3-pointers a game. It's like, what? It's like maybe Steph isn't the best pure facilitator of the ball as the point guard. I wore this jersey for a reason today. But you got to let him do what he does. He is not going to get comfortable if you're not going to let him do what he was born to do. It's like maybe the passing will come with the running, And let me get into Kyle Pitts now, too. Because, look, my team, 2-0, we're feeling good. We don't feel like we played to our full capacity. For the future, I'm spooked. I'm a little spooked. I made a big bet on Fields, and I made a big bet on Pitts for my future. Pitts, he's run 92% of the routes. Desmond Ridder sucks. I'm not even really blaming Arthur. Like, Smith, last year, the problem with Pitts was only running like 60-something% of the routes because Arthur Smith would take him out. He's not getting taken out. He's running routes. He's getting open. Ritter can't get him the ball. The offensive line sacks. And Bijan Robinson gets 90% of the touches. So not great. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of complaining for winning. I get that. But you gotta realize I have high standards for my guys, and that's the way it is. Let's get into game 2 of the week, and that was Nick Mills at the last minute beating Kris. This one hurt my heart a little bit. I thought Kris played with some pride this week, but to no avail. Once again, the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack really fell flat for him. It's tough to score only the 8th most points in the league. For last week when you have the tight end 1 and the quarterback 1 in your starting lineup, but I mean, it's a lot of snowflakes on Kris's lineup, a lot of single-digit scores. Kris's team doesn't score touchdowns. That's the problem. Last week and this week, if you take out Thursday Night Football, he has 3 touchdowns combined. Not great. For Mills, on the other hand, he didn't play Christian Watson. Just shows you where his head's at. His head isn't in it this year. But George Pickens with like a 70-something yard touchdown on Monday Night Football to pull out the win. It was a lucky win. If I think we're all being honest right now, Mills had like a 3% chance to win going into Monday night. It was a pretty lucky win. But it's one that Mills needed. I thought that if he lost this, it was going to be the beginning of the end. It wasn't. He probably isn't in a good position now. If he wins this week, he'll be 2-1 and right in the thick of things. Yeah, I mean, long-term kind of discussions about these teams. I actually don't think Kris's team is that bad. I know he's 0-2, but he has 2 top quarterbacks. He has 2 top receivers. I think Javonte is going to keep getting better. TJ Hawkinson is going to be a top 3 tight end. Judy should be better. He got Jerome Ford now for the Nick Chubb injury. I don't think Kris's team is that bad. I know he's coping. You'll hear his interview. He keeps coping about like 2024. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna be loaded next year. We always hear that. I think it's what he tells himself in the mirror to make him feel better and push down all the pain. But like, Kris, bro, you have to start winning, dog. Like, you need to develop a winning instinct. You can't be. This is like the problem that the Sixers made with like trust the process. I know Kris isn't in a fully fledged tank right now, but the one mistake the process made is they didn't develop a winning attitude. They were like, okay, guys, it's okay. You can keep losing. It's actually good to lose. And then they don't understand why Ben Simmons is such a loser, why Joel Embiid doesn't play through injury. It's like nothing that they taught these guys at their fundamental level was like push through it. You have to try to win at all costs. Winning is, what we're trying to do. This is why I worry about Kris's organization. He's just so nonchalant about losing. He's beaten down. He's battered. He's in an abusive relationship with fantasy and the Giants probably. Football's shown him nothing but pain for the last 10 years. And he's a shell of who he used to be. He's the 45-year-old man who doesn't have the balls to get a divorce from his wife. And he's just a little rug for her to walk on. That's what fantasy is doing to you week in and week out, Kris. She's walking over you. You're just laying on your back. You're just like a milk dud. And I just hate to see it because the Kris I grew up with at a young age, he had fangs, he had sharp teeth, he would cheat to win. He cheated Anthony. He would change the scores. That was the grimy dirtbag I loved. That was the guy, I got excited to play on Sunday. I was like, oh, here we go. This is gonna be a tussle in the mud this week. Now it's like, who am I even playing? It's just like I'm not even playing him. He's just playing himself. So, I mean, as good as Kris's future looks, without the mentality that comes with it, I'm not really concerned. For Mills, on the other hand, I mean, he's just buying time until Cup comes back. And I mean, half his roster, Kamara will be back. Akers just got traded. Let me see. Juju's cut. Njoku needs to be in the lineup. But I mean, Mills, I think, is probably at his lowest right now, and he'll get better and better as the season goes on. This would have been a nice loss, I'll be honest. From my perspective, I would have loved for Mills to lose this game. But hey, championship DNA, you can't teach it. Kind of the antithesis of Kris. So good win for Mills right there. I'm going to take a quick sip. Okay, let's get into the third game. So James Ball, by far the best team so far. 164 points this week. Beats Ethan. Golf clap, everyone. Ethan, 151 points. Tanking for Caleb? Not on his watch, We'll start with James Ball here. James is going to make the playoffs. I think that the only question is really how healthy he's going to be when he gets there. He does not have any depth, and I mean no depth. I mean, bro was starting Deontay Foreman last week. He started Alan Lazard this week. No depth. But if he can't stay healthy, he's going to be hard to beat. Jared Goff, Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones, whoever you want to pick there. They're fine. They're passable. They're not going to get you rushing yards, but I think in good game environments, they're good for 2 touchdowns, which really the way the top quarterbacks have played this year, it's like, is there even really a difference from a Jared Goff to a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes? Because there hasn't been so far. And I guess I can talk a little bit about what I was saying earlier about no big plays in the NFL right now. It's all deep safeties, check it down low, take what the defense gives you, long 12 sustainable drives. That's what defenses are pushing the offenses to do right now. And offenses are less efficient now because they're not getting big plays. They have to rely on the run game. There's so many things that can go wrong on a 12-play drive to curtail you from scoring a touchdown that, I think it's really sharp by defenses. It was so long that they tried to stop the run. You have to stop the run. You have to stop the run. And it's like as rules became more and more favorable to passing offenses, it took a while for defenses to change. But I think, probably Mahomes and Hill helped. I think defenses really started doing this against the Chiefs a few years ago, and that's when they started, making it more uniform across the league for these elite quarterbacks. So I'm a little nervous as someone that bought into Lamar and Justin Fields, 2 elite quarterbacks. I'm a little nervous that I could have miscalculated their impact coming off of last year when Hurts, Allen, Mahomes were just so much better than everyone else. But for James, he also has CMC. He has Derrick Henry. He doesn't even have Jonathan Taylor back. He got Kelsey back this week, Diggs, Allen. He's stacked. I mean, he really is stacked. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns. He's going to score a lot of points. And I think that if he gets into playoffs healthy, he should be the number 1 power rank guy going forward at this moment. I don't really have too much left to say, just that he is getting healthier. And the Jonathan Taylor situation will be interesting to watch. He also should be getting Aaron Jones back this week. All right, let's go on to Ethan. 151 points. This was a weird week when Ethan and Mark were 2 of the highest scoring teams in the league. 2 teams that are built for the future, not really trying to win now. Although I don't know about Ethan. I think Mark would be okay winning some ball games right now. I think Ethan is fine losing as much as he can lose. But CJ Stroud looks like the real deal. I think that's take number 1. I love what the Texans are doing with CJ Stroud, just letting him drop back and throw the damn ball. So many times when young quarterbacks or bench quarterbacks come in, coaches try to protect them. They run the ball. They run screens. I'm not talking about Justin Fields here, but I kind of am. But what you should do is just like turn them loose, let them make mistakes, let them find their way. And that, CJ Stroud, he has some turnovers week 1. But last week he looked like the real deal, throwing for 384 yards. I mean, that's huge. So I think Ethan really might have some good quarterbacks here, and maybe not the ones that he expected coming into the year. He also has Rachaad White, James Cook. If I was him, I would trade these guys now at ASAP. You're not trying to win. They're probably fragile players at the end of the day. One injury and you've lost all their trade value. I think they're more volume plays. In James Cook's case, he's in a good offense, so he's more hyper efficient. In Rachaad White's case, he's just a volume play on an offense. So they might also get him some wins if they stay on the team, just scoring points that, frankly, I don't think he wants to score. DJ Moore, nice bounce back week. Same with Drake London. Musgrave looks pretty good. Same with Sam Laporta on his bench. And Mostert, another guy would trade right now, 25.7. I know Ethan's been trying to trade these guys throughout the week. Not. I hope I'm not giving away some inside knowledge there. But the other guy I wanted to talk about, well, I guess two guys here. Let's start with Bryce Young. I don't know, guys. I mean, I know, you can't really make judgments on quarterbacks this soon into their career. Everyone always talks about Peyton Manning throwing 20-something interceptions his first year. For me, I just haven't seen, more than 2 or 3 plays where Bryce has kind of blown me away. He looks like a game manager type, but he's so small. Them taking him out on 3rd and shorts is pretty bad, I think. Like, you took this guy was the first pick and you're this concerned about his size. That does not seem great to me. He also has no weapons though, so it is like a chicken and an egg situation. I wouldn't give up on Bryce or trade low. I think he's actually probably a good person for Ethan just to kind of ride out the year, see how he improves. And I'm not a big believer in Frank Reich either. So get him a real coach. But Jordan Addison, this guy looks like the real deal. Now, his upside long-term is probably going to be capped just playing alongside the best receiver in football, playing alongside a top tight end. But Jordan Addison, he's a big play receiver. And I think that he's probably the top young receiver at this point for Ethan. I'm not sure who you guys would go with between Drake London or Jordan Addison. I wouldn't say, Quentin Johnson would really be up there at this moment. But I think I would probably still go with Drake London, but I think it is a little close. Addison showing us his big playability. I could see him easily becoming like a Devontae Smith to AJ Brown. So yeah, I mean, really good week for Ethan. At this point, when you're rebuilding, you just want to look for upside. I also wanted to mention Sam Laporta. Looks like an absolute stud. You just want to see your guys flashing on the screen. You want to see him show up on red zone. You want to see him show up in volume, show out their dang snaps, show out they're doing a little bit with their snaps. So I think a good week there for Ethan. All right, let's move on to game number 4. And this was Mark. 148 points to Ahmad 105. I wouldn't say that this was a shocking result when you look at the matchups, but I mean, 148 points for Mark, I guess, is a little shocking. Josh Allen, 24 points. I mean, it's okay. I think we're still waiting for these quarterbacks to really blow up. We haven't had many 30-point games, but obviously you're not really going to complain about that. Bijan Robinson, man. Woo! Bijan might be the top running back in the league. Like, I would still... No, I wouldn't. I think he's the top running back in the league. And shout out to Maurice Jones-Drew, by the way, who does his running back rankings and had him like 23 in the preseason. Like, bro, grow up. And now he has him at like number 2. Like, shut up, bro. I literally, I'm not going to go on a whole tangent about these analysts or whatever, but it's just literally so bad out there in the sports media scene. But 19 for him, Tyler Algier with 5. I think playing them both week is probably smart. Algier is getting as many touches as a normal starting running back. And between them, you're going to get 30 points a week probably. So actually a pretty smart strategy there. Gabe Davis, signs of life. Him. He'll have 3 or 4 big games a year. Kincaid looks good. And Jordan Love, I mean, let's be honest, Jordan Love is fraudulent. Like, he has 6 touchdowns on like 40-something pass attempts. Like, that's not going to continue throughout the year. His EPA per play is pretty bad. I think LaFleur, we're finally seeing LaFleur's offense that's not being shaped and molded by Rodgers at the line. And I think he actually is a really good play caller. So we're seeing that. But I guess if you're going to say that you're in on Jordan Love, you're going to be like, oh, he's going to get Aaron Jones back and Christian Watson. And with all these playmakers, he doesn't actually need to be that great. He just needs to get them the ball. I would agree with that to a certain extent, but I'm just saying he's not going to keep throwing 3 touchdowns a week on like this low of pass volume. No one is that efficient, not even Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, JSN, and Puka. Yeah, I mean, I gotta talk about Puka, but JSN, who would have thought that that JSN wouldn't be Mark's best rookie wide receiver? The problem with JSN is he's just playing behind two of the best wide receivers in football. And I'm a little surprised that they're not running more 3 wide receiver sets. I think I saw that, JSN was running like 60 something percent of snaps. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I know that they were pretty efficient last week on offense and successful, the Seahawks were, but I would be trying to get my rookie involved to take the next step. But that will probably come throughout the season. Puka, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know how great Puka is. I'm not even trying to be a hater. I probably would trade him if he was on my team, but here's my thing with Puka. It's just that he's playing with the best fantasy producing quarterback of all time. I mean, the number 1 wide receiver for Matthew Stafford is always the fantasy stud. He made a historic season out of Cooper Kupp, out of Calvin Johnson. He has made Robert Woods relevant, Golden Tate was relevant with him. No matter where he goes, he just makes Kenny Golladay. I mean, this guy made Kenny Golladay a top 10 fantasy receiver and made the Giants pay him $50 million. I mean, the thing with Stafford is he, more than anyone I've ever seen, locks into a number 1 wide receiver and just peppers them with targets. Between that and Sean McVay, I mean, Puka's going to eat. My question is what's going to happen when Cooper Kupp comes back. Obviously, Cooper Kupp will overtake Puka for his role, but Puka is winning on the outside. So I think Puka will still be a mid wide receiver too. This isn't going to continue. Like, obviously, he's not going to get 30 targets, every 2 games. That would break football, break statistics. But I think he's going to be reliable. I just think people are getting a little bit carried away. Matthew Stafford is a top 10 quarterback in football, though. Like, that to me is very obvious. And last year, when he didn't have an offensive line, people really, were off the Stafford bandwagon, but he is still an absolute star. Let's go to Ahmad. Man, this was a rough week for Ahmad, if I have to be honest. Just for not even this week. Like, you can have one week, like, losses, but sometimes the losses show you a picture that probably hurts the future direction of your team. Lawrence, not worried about him. This offense is going to start putting up huge weeks here soon. Kenneth Walker, not an efficient week, got the 2 touchdowns. He still has the, line share of the work. Charbonnet isn't mixing in too much yet. Same with Jpdl. Hopefully he starts picking it up, though, because I am a little concerned that if he continues having 17 rushes for 43 yards, that the Seahawks will eventually, find other options. I think it was good for Ahmad that Gus Edwards kind of showed out this week. I think he's better than Justice Hill, and he would be who I would expect to have the, most of the touches going forward, most of the good red zone 2-minute drill opportunities. But here we go. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. It's just going to be tough, bro. It's just going to be really tough for them. I'm not trying to overreact to a week against the Cowboys and one of the best defenses I've ever seen through a few weeks. But, like, man, they have to be so efficient with their touches. They're not going to get touchdowns. They just have to be really efficient with their volume. And they are 2 of the best players at their position, so it's a good bet. I wouldn't say a good bet. It's a bet that he has to make at this point. Like, you can't really bench Garrett Wilson. I don't know if you can bench Breece Hall. I think he's going to start getting more touches, but it's just brutal because you look at this team, and if Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall had not even an Aaron Rodgers, just a competent, a Jameis Winston, just a quarterback that can move the football, I would be much higher on this team's outlook for the rest of the season. Jalen Waddle, there's going to be better weeks for him. Goddard, I think same for him. It's been a weird start to the season for Ahmad's guys, I think. Even week 1 wasn't a super high scoring week. And I just feel like most of his guys are positive regression candidates, maybe besides Wilson and Hall, because it's just, I mean, it's going to get better for Hall, but just a tough situation there. I also wanted to note Michael Pittman, he looks great. Like both in usage and first rate target percentage and his actual on-field talent. I think that's a big hit. So if you're looking for positives so far, I think Michael Pittman is a big hit, whether it is Anthony Richardson or a backup at quarterback, Minshew, whoever. And then Deshaun Watson. This would be the one that I would be worried about. Just the good thing with Watson is he's locked into the role. I mean, they gave him an all guaranteed contract, so like you're gonna have him for 3 years or whatever. The question is he gonna get back to that Texans level, Deshaun Watson? I'm not sure. I think maybe the Chubb injury is probably good for Watson for fantasy. They're probably gonna be more pass heavy, and we'll see. We'll continue to see. I don't know. It looks like he's processing a little slower and like what's going on in his mind right now. He must be uncomfortable, you know. Not trying to be sympathetic or anything towards the situation, but yeah, that would be my read. If I was Ahmad, I would start considering Stafford in certain matchups over him, but I get why you wouldn't do that yet. All right, let's get down to our last matchup, and maybe the reason why my co-host is not here right now. Sorry, that is so good. James McCaskey with 174 points, the most points on the week. Let's be honest, this game was pretty much over after Thursday Night Football. You know, when you get 25 from Hurts and 26 from DeAndre Swift, we won't talk about Alexander Madison, but they are two, 50-something points. You're feeling great. And on Sunday, it continued, a big week from Higgins. Mark Andrews doing what Mark Andrews does, a big week from Evans and a big week from Herbert. That's what 174 point week looks like. A lot of how many? 3, 4, 5 20+ point guys. I mean, that's the kind of week that you dream of. I don't really have too many notes. I mean, obviously these guys are going to regress back to the mean. Like you cannot tell me DeAndre Swift is putting up 26 again. Evans, I don't know, unless he has some connection with Baker Mayfield. I don't see that really continuing. I do think Mike Williams has better days ahead. Same with DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf got tackled down on the 1-yard line last week. Honestly, not much to say. Just a pretty dominant performance by James. I think that after week 1, when he won super ugly, having a performance like this probably makes you feel a little better. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Good trade, I guess, getting Madison off the roster and getting Zay Flowers. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who ends up winning that trade. Yeah, so let's get into Will. Hey Will, what would you say about your team this week? Oh, damn, I forgot he didn't show up to the episode this week. Look, I mean, 133 points is fine. Like, I wouldn't even be sweating this loss. Like, you just ran into a buzzsaw this week. I would be like, oh, we ran bad. We got unlucky. That's going to happen a few times every season. Richardson got a concussion. He was on his way to like a 30-point game. He's an absolute stud. Doesn't shock me. I'm not sure if anyone else is shocked. He was always going to be a fantasy superstar. I probably would have considered him over Bijan. I think that would have been a mistake, but I'm not really sure. I think they're both going to be great. Bro, I mean, when Will gets 44 points from Brian Robinson and James Conner, it's going to be tough to beat him. It was actually who let him down? He also got 20 from Lamb and Jefferson. Okay, so it was Freiermuth, Olave, Ayuk, D-Hop, and Derek Carr. He also benched Russell Wilson, who scored 27 points. So, all right, this wasn't a bad week from Will at all. Will's team's good, like straight up. He has a good team. I think that they're probably playing a little bit above their skis so far, but I wouldn't say that it's a mirage or anything. I think Richardson is really good. Russ, if you take away that Hail Mary at the end, he had like a fine week. Obviously, that Hail Mary helped him. Derek Carr just can't be started. So quarterback, I mean, it's solid. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's solid. Running back suck. That 44 points is crazy from two of them. But he does have the wide receivers. Tight end might be a little bit of a problem for him. Farmouth has 4 yards in the first 2 weeks. So yeah, so a little bit of a bad loss for not a bad loss, but just a loss for Will. So going out of the first 2 weeks, where do I go for standings? Yeah, so before we get into Thursday night football and week 3, in the first division, we have James Ball at 2-0. Then we have Mills and Ahmad at 1-1 each, and then Ethan and Kris at 0-2. James Ball has 100 more points than anyone else in that division. So if we're talking about tiebreakers, James has to be feeling pretty good right now. He's away at Ranger School, but he's in a good position for the bye. I don't really see Ahmad contending for it. Mills maybe, but probably not. I would almost guarantee that James Ball will get the bye in that division. Then in the other division, we have James McCaskey at 2-0, myself at 2-0, Will, Mark at 1-1, and then Gil, like everyone predicted, at 0-2 at the bottom of the division. Now I play James McCaskey this week, so that will be big, both 2-0 teams, as we are fighting for the bye. I think our division is really good. I mean, I think Gil's going to be better. Will's good. Mark's pretty good. And then me and James both 2-0. I don't know. I don't even know where I would line up my team within this, but we're just going to put our head down and keep working. So let's get on to this week and talk about Thursday Night Football before I kind of preview these matchups quickly, and then we'll get out of here. I'm just so good at talking to the camera. It's crazy. But yeah, so me and James this week, I started off with 22.6 from Debo on Thursday Night Football. The one thing I'll say about Debo, man, he always began hurt in the middle of the game. He gave me a heart attack after last week, just in our injury. He gets up. What does he do? 27-yard touchdown a few plays later. That's just the guy I like. He's going to keep fighting for me and get them points. So right now I'm projected to win by 10 against James McCaskey. So Fields against Kansas City. Love that. I love that matchup. For me, we have ETN Gibbs. I'm not going to go through all these guys. I'm just going to pick out a couple of spots. So at the moment, I have 3 Jaguars in the starting lineup against Houston. I have ETN, Ridley, and Evan Ingram. Is that probably a smart play? Probably not, because you're just like limiting your ceiling. But in a matchup where they're probably going to score a lot of points, I think I'm okay with it. Right now, I have Kyle Pitts on the bench. Pitts against Madison will probably be my decision of the week for at flex spot. For James, he has 5 players on Monday Night Football this week. 5. So no matter what happens on Sunday, it's all going to come down to Monday night in this game. So yeah, that's fun. It's also a scary spot for me. Both Zay Flowers' revenge game, I traded him this week to James for Madison, Deontay Johnson, who's on IR, and a second. I feel good about that trade, but time will tell. I'm also scared of Mike Williams this week, I'll just say, and Herbert. I think that Vikings-Chargers game is going to be the game of the day as far as shootout potential. So yeah, I don't think this will be an easy win. I foresee it being a high-scoring match between us. Let's get to Kris and Ethan. 2 0-2 teams. Is this a get-right spot for Kris? Well, I would say so, except Daniel Jones scored 4 points on Thursday Night Football, killing his super flex position. Man, he's starting Kendra Miller. Kris, bro. Kris, bro, we can't be starting Kendra Miller. Damn. That might actually be the best option. If I was Kris, I would probably start Sky Moore. Bad out here. That was actually wait. Well, Kendrick could be okay. No Jamal. I don't know. I guess it comes down to Tony Jones. That's just funny. And we'll see if Burrow plays this week, because if not, Kris is gonna have to start Tannehill on the road at Cleveland. For Ethan, I mean, Ethan's team is too good to be tanking. His team, I wouldn't say his team is great, but it's at least fun to watch and interesting. So that'll be interesting. I'll make my picks at the very end of this real quick. Gil against Will. This is my Like, I know me against James are both 2-0, but this game I am looking forward to a lot. Still no Eckler for Gale. He's going back to Kelly. I think that's smart. I mean, Kelly played the Titans last week. The Titans don't really give up points to running backs, so I think that's fine. He still has Najee in the lineup. That's something that nah, I'm not playing Najee. Straight up. I'll play Khalil Herbert over not Terry McLaurin. Gil, put Terry in the lineup. Like, bro, stop. Oh my God, Gil. Terry is in prison on Gills' team. Like, just trade Terry. I'll take Terry. I know Ahmad wants Terry. I know a bunch of people want Terry. No way we're playing Najee Harris over Terry McLaurin this week. Like, there's just no shot. Okay. But I do want Gil to lose, so I hope he does play Najee. For Will, on the other hand, hey man, I hope he's having a good rest and relaxation week over there. He has Russ in his lineup. He has Baker. One thing I told Will was like, hey, if you're gonna play Olave and Michael Thomas in the flex, play Derek Carr in the flex, because if Thomas and Olave fail, you're gonna lose anyways. So play for the double stack would be what I would say. Yeah, that's all I have for that matchup. Just Waller scored like 5 points on Thursday Night Football, so not good for Gil. Will is projected to barely beat Ahmad right now. He has Gainwell in his lineup. These teams are set jokes. Christian Watson, maybe he'll make his debut this week. 16 from George Kittle on Thursday Night Football. That's good. My man's starting Zach Ertz and Robert Woods, bro. This is a sad defending champion right here. For Ahmad, I mean, Ahmad's team, if you just like don't look at projected points to like their situations, it's kind of a generational team. We'll see with the Jets and the Patriots this week. Hopefully, Breece Hall gets more touches, but I actually like Ahmad's lineup this week. I like the names. That's what I would say. I don't love the situations right now, but hey, one thing I always say in fantasy is names stay the same and situations change. I'll bet on talent. As you see, I'm betting on Pitts and Fields. I'll bet on talent and let the chips fall where they may over the next few years for situation. Then finally, we have James Ball against Mark. Mark's frisky. I think he's gonna, James Ball's team is just kind of disgusting. Does James Ball get anyone back? I'm gonna have to commissioner control Aaron Jones back into the lineup. And we're still waiting on Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, I'll just make predictions real quick and then we'll end this. All right. So me against James McCaskey. I have me winning. I just think that, I think my team's in a good spot this week. I feel like we're about to hit our stride as a team. And obviously 22.6 points from Debo helps. I would say, though, that I think that this is going to be a super high scoring match. I think I pulled out, but I think James puts up another really high score this week. Ethan against Kris. I'm going to go with Ethan. I think Ethan just has more fight. Like, at the end of the day, Ethan's team is building something. Kris's team is just, they're dying. They're slowly decaying. So, yeah, I'll go Ethan there. So obviously I have Ethan covering his -5 spread. For my game, I have James covering the 10-point spread, but I have myself winning. Will against Gil. I wanted to pick Will. I really did, but just not having Anthony Richardson this week and having to start Derek Carr is just tough. So I'll go Gil covering the 5 points and getting his first win of the season. Nick Mills against Ahmad. I have Nick covering 6 points and winning. It's just, I don't know. This one's just a feel thing. I think Ahmad's vibes I don't think Ahmad's vibes are low, but I think my vibes on Ahmad's team are low. I don't even know if that makes sense, but I've been talking for a while. Finally, James Ball against Mark. I think Mark covers the pretty disrespectful 23-point line, but I do have James Ball pulling off the win. So that is finally going to do it for this episode. Hopefully we'll have Will back for the next one. I think that we're finally going to have a good week of football tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And I will see you guys then. So thanks for tuning in. See you. Okay, so this is segment 2 of the episode. Hopefully, if Will comes out of his darkness cave. Kris, I know you're 0-2 as well, but shout out to you for not ducking the way you ducked, our fight back in over the summer. Unlike Will, though, you had the decency to show up on camera today. So we like to start off every episode and ask our guest, what's your happiness level from 1 to 10 right now?
Fantasy wise, it's a 0. Like, I don't even watch my players play. Like, on Thursdays, they'll play well. Sundays, I get no notifications. Real football is probably like a 4 out of 10.
Oh, okay. That's actually higher than I thought.
It's not a great week.
No. I mean, what would obviously it would have been a 0 at halftime of the Cardinals game, but like,
Oh, no, dude. I like halftime I got on Xbox just to beat someone in Madden. I couldn't even watch a game.
no, I mean, like, obviously I have Saquon, so like I was watching every play. And I mean, I'm be honest, this is a fantasy show. Maybe we'll talk about fantasy for 2 or 3 minutes, but this is probably gonna be more real life football. So I guess we can just start with the Giants. Like, Wink Martindale, is he the worst defensive coordinator in football?
I don't get what we were doing. They were running just counter plays, and we couldn't stop them. We stopped them one time, and then they had a punt. It was the only 3 and out we got.
Yeah, it's just like Wink, I feel like, comes into every game. Back in the Ravens, it was only man blitz because they had like Marcus Peters and who's the other guy? Humphrey on the outside. So they would just play man blitz, and they would send whenever they go up against Mahomes or anyone, they just get shredded. I don't know if it's as much like man blitz with the Giants, but it's like he just goes in with a game plan and then he just doesn't adjust.
His game plan just never works. It's just a bend don't break, and then our offense. Dude, the first 6 quarters of our season is probably the worst ever.
That was the question I was gonna ask, if that was like the low point. Because honestly,
at
half,
I've never been like, is football even that like worth it? Like, what's so enjoyable about football? Like, I was like, there's nothing to watch. My fantasy teams, I'm in 4 leagues. I've won 1 game.
Be honest. Like, how are you this bad at fantasy? It's not that hard. Like, it's actually not that hard of a game.
So like, dude, okay. I swear it's like 30% luck. Like, I've had I've lost like 3 points in 3 games. So, that could be 4-4 easy. I'm happy, but
yeah, I mean, like,
different though.
Like in this league specifically, like, yeah, you've been fucked on like the Bengals stack. I mean, that's just unfortunate.
I was close to giving them up this week.
Yeah, wait, like in a trade?
Yeah. If Jerome
Do it.
it was close. I'm gonna just say it. I was gonna give him to Ethan.
This dude Ethan's scheming, bro. Like he's trying to trade for everyone. He was like asking for Calvin Ridley earlier. Well, wait, what are you getting back? He doesn't even have enough to get them.
I was getting like 2 firsts for 3, James Cook, and then another receiver.
Ethan was gonna have like 6 quarterbacks on his team. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh no, I was getting Kyler too. So I was getting Kyler 2 firsts, James Cook, and a receiver. I forget who.
Okay, I mean, that's actually like DJ Moore, Drake London, maybe, or like someone on his bench. That's actually not that bad.
I think it's London. Yeah, I know. But then I'm like, dude, tanking in fantasy is it's not enjoyable at all.
I mean, well, you would be the resident expert in the subject. Although I feel like you don't outright tank. You just like end up being like you're gonna get the last playoff spot, and then you just trade everything midseason.
Yep. That's what we've been on.
And well, at least you lost last night, because if you won, there would have been like a glimmer of hope. But I mean, it's kind of hard to have the quarterback 1 and the tight end 1 on the week and then score the 8th most points. Like that's kind of tough to do.
My team is so bad, but it's like I have good players.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like your future is good.
Yeah, that's
I had you won.
Everyone was loaded. Like, I feel like everyone's loaded this year and next year. Like, James Ball is probably the best team now. Your team was loaded in like April. That's when I
No,
started
I
selling
mean,
everything.
I know. Look, I went in on running back. Like I had all the wideouts, and then
Yeah.
I started looking at like last year, and like all the teams that went far had 5 running backs. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get the top 5
Except
running
the champ.
backs.
Actually, the champ didn't have his whole.
Well, yeah, he did a blood sacrifice to have DeMar Hamlin die at halftime, but like, yeah, sure, champ. Yeah, he went wide receiver heavy. All right, I mean. Yeah, I mean, look, I still have you one in the future power rankings because, like, I mean, I feel like you have the pieces. Like, you have to tight end. You have, I feel like both quarterbacks kind of set. Javante is gonna be fine. Judy, I don't fucking know. Like every offseason, Judy comes in and everyone's like, he's gonna
You
go
buy the
ham.
highlights. You buy the route running videos, and you're like, oh shit.
Do you have anyone hurt?
No. But dude, if Jerome Ford is good,
Oh, you have a Mon Ra too. Yeah,
that was probably the best trade I've ever made.
I don't
I
want to talk
don't
about
think I
that.
ever win trades.
That was the downfall. If that was the moment, like if you took that moment, my team was perfect, and then since then it's all been a downfall. I mean, I mean, I'm gonna assume that Will comes back after ghosting me for the past 72 hours, and we talked about all of our rage about Chubb and Saquon in part 1. But let's go real NFL for a second. What are your take? Let me ask you a few of your takes so far in the NFL season. Like, all right, Super Bowl. Like, who do you have winning the Super Bowl today?
49ers.
Over?
Probably. Let's go Ravens. I think the
That's
Ravens
hot.
could be really good.
That's hot. That's like a rematch of like 2014 or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the Eagles are like by far the third. Like it's gonna
Dude,
be Cowboys and 49ers are so good.
I like the Cowboys still haven't had like a real matchup, which is like that defense is so insane.
No, I mean Micah Parsons. I mean, he's LT. Like he
All
just is like
right.
the every highlight is like him Christ. Like he's so cocky and like it doesn't matter.
Uh, Dude, they were just running the same stunt over and over, and our right guard was just getting cooked each play. And he was in the backfield in like 2 seconds.
Dude, I don't understand how the Giants offensive line is this bad. Like I know Neil sucks, but I thought like Andrew Thomas is he the best left tackle in football, or maybe Trent Williams, like he's top 3 or something?
Top three, probably. Yeah.
And it's like, bro, if the Neil pick hit, they would be so good right now. Because if you have 2 top tackles, it's wraps. Like you
Dude,
can
I
just
don't
run the
know.
league.
Our Glowinski's terrible. Like our right guard's terrible. Our center's fine. He's a rookie. Left guard just got hurt. Left tackle, Andrew Thomas is hurt. Evan Neal sucks. Like it's bad. And
Are you like done
dude,
with
we play
Evan
the
Neal?
49ers on Thursday.
I know. What's the spread on that? Like 14?
10.5.
That's kind of low. I mean, like Daniel Jones looked like the best quarterback in the NFL second half. Like, did Dayball call plays?
I think he did.
Yeah, he definitely
Dude, he
did,
had
right?
the whole play sheet like in his face, and he's acting like
Dude,
he didn't call play.
Kapka, the first half, I was getting so mad at the play calling. And in the second half, they just like didn't give the ball to Saquon on the ground at
Yeah.
all, which was like
Also,
honestly good.
I don't know why we don't use Jalen Hyatt more, just so he's like a deep. Like we have no one else that can run a deep route. Like once he started running,
Slayton, I feel like Slayton keeps dropping like 60-40 balls, but also Daniel Jones has underthrown like 3
yeah,
or 4 deep balls that should be like walk-in touchdowns so far, which is
yeah.
like, I mean, he's not going to be perfect, but like to beat like a good team, those have to kind of be hits. Like, I don't know. Thursday's going to be bad. That's 1 and 2. I'm not like, that's not even like a watchable game. Versus Seattle week 4. Is Saquon going to be back, you think? Probably, right?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. We really don't know what his injury. We know it's a sprain, but like it
It
looks
went from
so much
3
worse.
weeks to they're not ruling him out today. So I assume like 10 days later
There's
it'll be
no
fine.
way he plays
They
Thursday.
shouldn't. It's a waste. Even if it was
We shouldn't
prime
even
Saquon.
play Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, just take a forfeit.
Dude, but then Daniel Jones is just gonna get fucked every play. I
I
think
mean, start Tyrod Taylor. Like, I'm kind of being serious. Like, don't take a step backwards. Like, because all the confidence off of week 2 is about to be taken away in week 3. If you just benched everyone and treated it like preseason,
all
you
right,
could
but
just be like,
no team will do that. And
no, I
what
mean,
could shock the world? I
that'd be
mean,
a little soft.
if you want a free bet, Giants plus 10.5. Book it.
Dude, who made your guys' schedule? Then you have Seattle, the
It's
Dolphins, and the
so bad.
Bills.
It's so bad.
I mean, that's the out games must win. Like, if you get out of that 2-4, then it
Maybe
eases up.
maybe Tua gets hurt. Play the Dolphins without Tua.
Why always gotta be injury? Why can't you just beat someone straight up? Why do you have to
Because
rely
it's
on
not
injury?
realistic.
No, yeah.
Mike White would probably
Man,
dot us
man,
up, honestly.
damn. I feel like the QB school guy, every time I watch a Justin Fields video, he ends like every other play, he's like, damn, man,
He's
damn.
a social experiment. He might be worse than that. I don't even like he might lose his starting job.
Dude. Honestly, like honestly, I think he's like a top 15 quarterback. Or let me rephrase that. Right now, he's bottom 5. But if you put him with a good OC, like if you just took if there was a fantasy draft of quarterbacks, like if you reset the league, he should be a top 15 pick. I'd rather have him like forget age, even like for next season. If he had a whole entire OTAs to go through, I'd rather have him than like Purdy. I'd rather have him. I'd rather have Kirk than him. But
You'd
like
rather have
that's
him
like
than Dak. I
for the
think
Cowboys, I'd rather have Dak because you just need someone to not fuck up. But like if
I
you
mean
put them
Dak
both
does
on the Bears, Dak on the Bears right now with like a CFL quarterback.
dude, I don't know. Fields' bad plays are like he has 3 people open and will just tuck it after 5 seconds.
Okay, first of all, I'm pretty deep in the weeds on
What's your
this stuff.
ideal scenario for him?
Let me just answer what the problem is real quick, because I'm gonna be honest, I probably listen to 4 or 5 hours of Justin Field breakdowns every week.
Jeez.
All right, this is gonna be way inside football. His right foot is back. So instead of starting with his left foot back in his drop, his right foot's back. Okay. Now, Tom Brady was the first one who did this 9 years ago. Okay. And the reason he did it was because it would be a half step shorter. That way, just Julian Edelman and Wes Welker could be a little quicker on short routes. So then other elite quarterbacks started doing it. But the fucking problem is when you switch your foot, the slot receivers have to switch their feet to have their left foot back in their drop. Okay. The Bears, Justin Fields has his right foot back, and then their slot receivers have their right foot back. So every single read is a half hitch off where it's supposed to be. So Justin Fields isn't late. He's early to the reads. That's what you guys don't understand. He's getting to the reads too early before they get open. So he's not late in processing. He's too good at processing. And so he's seeing the field too early. He's seeing, oh, here's Mooney coming across. And he's like, oh, Mooney's going to be open in 2 seconds, but my right guard got blown by again. And I'm too late in my progression. I have to go to step 2. The whole offense is out of whack. It's not Justin Fields' fault. He's not retarded. Like he can process a football field. What's my ideal situation? Arthur Smith, get him to Atlanta. Like, yep. Would Justin Fields' bags go to 0 overnight? Mm-hmm. They're already like a fast food bag, but they would be in the trash. I don't care. My entire reputation is on Justin Fields at this point. I guarantee you he's not. It's not like he's going to be a backup next year. He's not Trey Lance. Where else would I want him to go? To the Vikings after Kirk Cousins gets traded midseason. Who says no to that?
No way. There's no way he goes to Minnesota.
Kevin O'Connell's a great OC. Oh my God, how are you guarding that?
No, but like the Bears would have to trade him.
They're going to get the first pick. Are you watching this team? They've lost 12 games in a row, and
They're so bad. They're so
they've given
bad.
up 25 points or more in 12 straight games. Matt
That
Eberflus is a
defense is so
defensive
bad.
head coach. Like, you guys are acting like he's in like an NFL team. He's on the fucking circus. Like what? Like no young quarterback has less help. Like, all right, DJ Moore's a stud. See, he actually, I'll admit, he has like weapons kind of. Chase Claypool is like a fat slob. I literally can't with him blocking. But like coaching wise, he's the worst coached young quarterback in NFL history. So did you watch him at Ohio State? He was great.
Okay, but he
Now,
also had
they were
pocket
telling
the
him where to
ball to
throw the
Olave.
football. Yeah,
I
and
could
they
throw the
were
ball to Olave and get Garrett Wilson.
right. But you'll hear all the stories about how like Jared Goff, when he was in with the Rams, like McVay would tell him where to throw it.
Yeah.
If Justin Fields had someone like that, he might be a top 5 quarterback.
I don't think his ceiling's that high. I
I
think
feel like he's
but it also
accurate.
doesn't like real life to fan. He's gonna be a good like. There's no way he's not a good fantasy quarterback.
Yeah,
But real
that's
life,
fair. Well, that goes into my other theory about like cover 2 shell and how the NFL is ruined. Did you read like what I wrote on that today?
nope.
Oh, well, I put a lot of time and effort into that. I'll just summarize it real quick. Like Sunday Night Football, like the Patriots played 3 deep safeties against Tua, and Mostert had like 150 rushing yards, but they held the Dolphins to 24 points. Like that's the reason why all these offenses suck right now, is because teams are putting deep safety shells on the field, and because like defenses realize that running the ball is way less efficient than throwing the ball, and by prolonging drives and forcing offenses to have more plays, there's more room for like mistakes, turnovers, penalties, like drive killers. So that's why like there's no explosive plays anymore in the NFL, and everything's like a check down, and every touchdown drive is like a 10 or 11 play drive. So like that's why that's why all the games suck right now, because like how many 50 plus yard touchdowns are there? Like 1 or 2 a week, and there used to be like 10.
Yeah, I don't
So
remember. I
like
mean, I've watched every Bengals snap. They haven't thrown it deep once,
no,
and they're probably like one of the most explosive teams.
the Ravens did the same thing. Like Jalen Hyatt got deep, but like
I mean, that the Cardinals aren't a real team.
No, I mean, like, congrats to the Giants, but part of that was probably also the call from upstairs. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing at halftime?
Yeah.
No, but like the Eagles on Thursday night, like AJ, like I think Devontae got loose for at one post, but they were playing
Devontae was running like man.
Yeah, that one play they were running cover 0, but they also backed off, and that's why Swift had like 150 rushing yards.
Yeah, but
after Smith blew by them, they just like backed up.
And they're only running like 3 down linemen. I don't know what they were trying to do.
Who's their defensive coordinator?
Flores, right?
Yeah. Is he the most like overhyped coaching candidate in NFL history?
I mean, he's got it. No, there's some bad coaches.
No, I feel like every single cycle though, people were talking like Brian Flores is like the greatest defensive mind.
Eric Bieniemy easy. But he's actually he might be cooking something.
I mean,
dude, people were citing him for the past like 5 years.
Mark was like getting honest about like being anti-Puka or Will. I mean, I couldn't be more like out on this 2-0 Redskins team. Like, or wow, slip up. Commanders team. This team's a joke. No, the Commanders are a joke, bro.
Their defense is so good though.
Who they play week 1? Oh, Cardinals and Broncos.
Okay, still, but like the NFC.
Let me look at they have the Bills this week. 2-1. That's a loss. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I still think you guys are a better team than them. If I'm being real.
Oh no, those first I was so high going into this season, and that shit humbled me.
All right, last question here, and then we'll get out, and maybe we'll finally respond. Like, all right. Actually, this is a good wrap up because it goes into both your teams, but we'll start with the Giants, and then we'll go into your fantasy team. Like, what's like your 2-3 year plan for the Giants, first of all? Like, what needs to happen to where, because I think we can all realize it's not this year, it's not next year as far as Super Bowl champions, but like 3 years from now, like what's making the Giants like a year in, year out contender?
Oh, Archie Manning. That's it. Once we get him, we're
All
fine.
right. So the second you say that is the second we could admit Daniel Jones was an awful contract.
No. What would we have done without him?
Go 2-15 and get Caleb Williams or Drake May.
Okay, but our team is still not good enough to have a like our O line isn't good enough. We still need to build that. And then we have no playmakers. Our best playmaker is a 27
Wandale?
Who?
Wandale?
Jesus. But it's like him or it's Saquon or Waller, and they're both gonna be hurt or not on the team in 2 years.
They're gonna be hurt by week 5, bro. Saquon's not gonna be. We already enjoyed like we had one half of Saquon being like a top 5 running back, and now he's gonna be cooked for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and then his contract is gonna become an issue probably with this injury.
Just let him go. Just let him go. Honestly, after the Chubb thing, I'm so out on older running backs. Like, I'm just done.
That was probably one of the worst injuries.
He's done, right? Like done.
Yeah, because it's gonna I've seen like 15 months is the recovery timeline, and then he'd be like 28, 29. And it's his like second major knee injury on that leg.
I know, I saw that. Yeah. All right, and then for your fantasy team, like, all right, obviously, probably a top 4 pick this year. Who's other first you
top
own?
4? The other clown show host here.
Oh, Will?
Yeah. So 2 top 4 picks. So with those, tight end premium, Brock Bowers is like stud.
He had 23 yards last week, but yeah, stud.
We don't even need to watch him anymore. We watched his tape last year. And then Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, I wonder. It'll be interesting.
Who's worse? Who's going to be worse? It's bad flexing this, but who's going to be worse? Maybe Ethan, Mark. Mark's team
Just
actually
just Ethan.
So he's
Mark's team might be better than yours because Puka's a guaranteed 30 ball every week.
How the fuck dude? That's the most insane. 20 targets is crazy.
No, I mean, look. This can't
I haven't watched them at all.
Can we be honest? Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in NFL history for fantasy wide receivers. He made Kenny Golladay top 10. He made Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson have the 2 record-breaking seasons.
All right, Calvin Johnson was insane. He's probably the best wide receiver prospect.
Bro, all I'm saying is that you can give Matthew Stafford anyone as long as he's healthy. He makes someone like a top wide receiver.
It's actually crazy.
I mean, Harrison and Bowers would be a little scary. Like Amon-Ra, Chase, and Marvin Harrison. Yeah, that'd be scary. But it's you. So at the end of the day,
I'll probably trade some of my players by next week, and then it'll be the worst trade.
Hit me up. Jesus Christ. I was looking at your running backs. Never mind.
Dude, okay, if Jerome Ford is good, I'm fine. Ford, Javonte. I mean, now that the NFL has become a running league again, if this is like an actual thing, I'm cooked.
That was my theory. That was my whole thing. And I forgot that running backs can't stay healthy for more than 5 weeks.
That's fair. And everything's a committee.
All right. Last question. Actually, yeah, last question. Do you have any future bet for the, I'm talking to a degenerate right here. Any long shot future bet that you like? Anyone for MVP odds? Any team's future? Any dark horses?
I mean, long-term investment wise, I bet Kadarius Toney's under. He's like 650. That's free money.
Yeah, right now, like 30 yards.
He's at like 40, I think.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper, I think, is gonna have a big year.
Okay.
And then I bet DJ to throw for 4,000. It was like
that's easy.
It was plus 700.
Damn. No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's gonna hit that, especially
if he doesn't get hurt. But
Yeah, I forgot that like there's juice on the negative side because of that.
yeah,
All I would say for like MVP and whatever, like Tua MVP might be the worst bet I've ever seen in my life.
there's
Like
no way he wins MVP.
find God if you bet Tua for MVP. He's not even gonna make it 17 weeks. Honestly, like I feel like Lamar actually has like a decent chance just because like I could really like their schedule is soft and I could honestly see him going like 15-2, 14-3. Plus he has like the preseason contract narrative.
Yeah.
And
And
Mahomes, like, there has to be like voter fatigue, right? And he sucked through 2 games. So I don't
Zay
know.
Flowers is so good.
I'm trying to trade him. So if you want him,
And we
like,
can make a deal.
all right, bet.
We'll
Yeah.
make a
All
deal.
right. All right. So
Wait,
that
wait,
does it
wait.
for
I
this
got
up.
one question.
Okay.
So with the
Yeah.
6 teams involved in the trade, you know,
Yeah.
I felt like I could have made a 7. We could have been really generational.
Yeah.
And assuming you were behind it, just want to know the reasons. Because you pitted me, not you. We built a relationship with just champions. So it just makes our organization just so much better.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because, I've been thinking a lot about this 6-team trade and everything I gave up for Justin Fields. Not that I'm regretting it, but just, sometimes I like to show Justin Fields that when he comes in the morning and be like, "Hey, bro, this is how much I believe in you." Um, yeah, that trade started off as me and Mark, and we had a deal. And then I roped Ethan in. I didn't want to give Gibbs away. So I trade Ethan like 5 more assets to not give away Gibbs. And then Ethan didn't respond for 48 hours. So then we roped in 3 other people. I'll be honest. We should have gotten you involved, probably. Obviously James Ball wasn't gonna be involved, Gil wasn't gonna be involved. And like Mills just sucks. Mills would never have been in the deal.
Mills is so hard to trade with.
Oh my god, dude! I'm trading. I have a live text with him on Sleeper, GroupMe, and text, and I just filter through them every other day. And like, look at this. I don't even know if you guys can see this, but Mills. I was like, Mills, we're trading on here for now on GroupMe. And then 2 days later, he was like, why? I was like, that's why, because you don't respond.
Dude, when we were trying to make a trade for Mahomes, when I had Jalen Hurts, we accepted like 4 different times. You know who? Wait. Other worst person to trade with is Ahmad. I've never agreed to so many trades with Ahmad for him to be like, actually, let me think on it. And then he's like, no, I don't like it. And it's just, then he just takes my players for less because I'm already think I have them.
Yeah. No, I feel like me and Ahmad trade well together. Probably because we've traded together like 25 times. So like at this point, it's like it's not even a trade. It's just like, here, hold on to these players for me, and then I'll get them back in another week or two. Yeah. Yeah. I think we said all there is to say. Hopefully Thursday night isn't too bad. Like, I don't know. All right. Make the case. How do the Giants win this game? Don't say injuries. Straight up.
We hold on to the ball. We can we have the what's that shit called? Time of possession. That's the only way we win. But that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I
heard that
we gotta have turnovers on defense, but we have no playmakers. Maybe
and 1 or 2 like special teams play. Honestly, you guys should go out there like Dan Campbell and just say fuck it. Like go for it on a couple 4th downs. Like play like you have nothing to lose.
I think it helps that it's on a Thursday night for us though.
Oh yeah. Because Shanahan can't scheme.
Yeah. Hopefully we were scheming for them before Arizona, and that's why we look so bad. But
yeah, looking at
that team.
And before Dallas, I think you guys just didn't scheme the first 2 weeks.
It was a look-ahead game.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, well, that was your 2 preseason games, and you're like, all right, we're hitting the ground running in San Fran.
Yep.
All right, we will see you guys later.